Yo, what's going on, everyone? How is everyone doing? How was everyone's weekend? Let's give it a few minutes. We'll get started in 2-3 minutes. Wait for everyone to get in here. And we will get started. Anyone do anything good this weekend? Anyone do anything good? Yeah, started ripping as soon as I went live. Hey, I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do here. Look at that candle. Here's ES. Looks pretty bullish to me. Alright, we have a nice inverted head and shoulders. The music a little bit lower. Prop researching with snowboarding. Waiting all weekend for this. Hey, it's time. Been chilling. Awesome. But we have a nice inverted head and shoulders here. Like 6 miles. Oof. Let me know if the music's too loud or you know, anything else. All right, so here's ES. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We did break this little trend here. That's fine. Want to see this low hold. All right, I want to see 42.60 hold. All right, we bounced once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Kind of dipped below it and then shot up, and now we're holding one more time. That's ES. All right, so everything kind of looks the same here. This one looks pretty damn good to me. All right, old resistance, breakout, and now it's going to act as a new support. This old resistance, right? So old resistance as a new support looks pretty damn good. All right, this old level, we bounced below, took out the stop losses, and then it, you know, bounced up back to the upside. But it bounced right where it should have. And NQ, basically the same thing. All right, basically the same thing. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. It's finding some support right in this region. Right, bounced here before, and it's starting to bounce here again with this old resistance as a new support here. We don't have nearly as many people this time as last week. Not as many people want to learn. No one wants to put in the effort. They just want to, you know, be handed the plays. But I am pretty bullish this week if this low holds. Right, here's a Hang Seng index. We have a triple bottom here. RTS. See what we got. Gold saw a nice move. Bitcoin I'm not going to look at. everything looks pretty good if this low holds. Let's take a look at the watch list here. Anyone have any questions? So how do I know when to add the lines and where? Right, it's not an exact science. We're just doing, you know, where the most touches are. All right, we're looking for common levels of resistance and common levels of support. All right, so for example, right, we could see a trend forming, right? So we rejected, it rejected again, and now it's starting to test this level one more time. We go on the smaller time frame, right? You can start to see a higher low is forming. We're starting to form a level of resistance. Once this breaks, we should see a move back to the upside. And we're rejecting right at that old level of resistance. Right, so we rejected all throughout the same level here. Right, so we had a double top here, and it's pretty obvious that we would test this level once again, and it's doing that exact thing that we anticipated. Right, and it also makes sense because this level here was a support. Right, so we had a support turned into a resistance, right? Just a general region, doesn't have to be exact. And then it's consolidating within that region again. So it's waiting for that next leg up. That's exactly what you look for when you're plotting support and resistance levels. So, although futures are down, I love this setup. I'm just gonna go over everything as if, you know, futures are flat, because it can open flat in the morning. And I also like the spot of where futures are at. How do I decide what time frame to chart on? I use all of them. I chart on all of them, whatever looks the best. I generally look at like the 1 hour begin to find like the trend. Right, so if we take a look at the trend here on the 1 hour, we're basically just moving sideways. So you need to be cautious of that. And then I'll go down and see what we got here, right? So again, on the 15-minute sideways, but we have a upward trend forming, right? So we could definitely take a potential quick trade here, right? If this level breaks where we closed at, I'm looking for a push up to this next level here. And how did I pick this level here, right? So we have a level of resistance right here, acted as a support, and then, you know, it acted as a resistance and a support once again. And then we also have a gap fill here. So this is why I have this level picked out, right? We have a little gap fill here. So it's going to want to push, and people are going to start to, you know, buy if it breaks to the upside. And then once the gap hits, right, it's going to buy, and then it's going to test this next level of resistance right around this region here, which is, you want to start taking profits when it's moving to the upside. Hopefully that makes sense. Yep, 97% of the people who gave up are working for the 3% who never did. Well said. How to put down a consistent strategy to be consistent. I play breakouts. I look for wedges, right? So for example, this is a wedge. Right, we have another wedge right below resistance. Just play wedges, right? So also, last week we had a great example of this. So I'll use IWM as an example. Okay. All right, so we have, let's see where we bottomed actually. Okay, this is a perfect example. I'm gonna delete all the noise for you guys. So let's say you are trading intraday. Right, so first off, you want to go back a little bit and see some common levels of support or resistance. First thing that catches my eye is this region right here. Right, we have a double bottom. We have one bounce, and then we have a bounce a little bit higher. Right, so we have a higher low. So this is a level that you definitely want to watch for. The exact level was 188.09. And take a look where we bounced. Right below it. Basically on the line. So we have a common level of resistance, and we have a bottom with an insane amount of volume. Right, so we bounce right off of it, and then we move to the upside and we start consolidating. So that's when you want to, watch for the next move up. Right, so the market just moves in waves. Right, so it moves down, consolidates, moves down, consolidates, moves down, and vice versa. And then once it reverses, it's gonna go up, consolidate, go up, consolidate, and go up and consolidate again. Right, so here we could start to see it's starting to consolidate sideways. Right, so for example, here's the 5 minute, and then right, it starts to put in a bottom. Right, so we have one bottom, two bottom right in the same spot, and another bottom right a little bit higher. Perfect little flag here. And if we hit play, you can see, first of all, the breakout spot, right, is usually high of the flag, or you could do the next high. Right, so 193.11 or 193.44. Right, so if I hit play, right, you'd enter right here, and you let the trade ride. So first off, first initial spike, you could take profits there and play the IV spike, or you could add the retest. Right, so always happens. It will break out, it will pull back and retest. So this old resistance will act as a new support, and you will see continuation. Right, so it's retesting now this next level. Right, so this major trend line here, it rejected, came back down, acted as a support, this previous resistance, and now it's breaking through. Look at that. And first price target would be this next high here. Right in this region. This high here. Right, so it moves up, consolidates, moves up. And there you go. You take profits on a couple of contracts, and then you look for the next level. All right, and that's really it. Could have followed the BT cloud here, right? So as soon as it flipped green, right, you could have entered right here and, sell when it turns red. Perfect example on how to use BT cloud. So this is actually a perfect example of the BT cloud and how to play a breakout. And look at the volume profile as well. So it's starting to move sideways now, right at the largest volume profile. So consolidated, and then it pushed up towards the end of the day again, right into this next level. That was a perfect review of how every trade works. They all are the same. And once you realize that, it becomes very easy. It becomes very easy. What do you guys think about that little review I just did? Hopefully that helped like most of you. No, I don't use a scanner. I use the BullTrades dashboard and just look at the flow. Indicators, I only use this one and this one really, and the BT cloud. Alright, so I have a bunch here, but the only ones I use are volume, VPVR, and the BT cloud. Yeah, the retest is definitely lower risk. The first initial spike is definitely more risky, but it has a higher reward because once it breaks out, you're going to get the IV spike on the contracts. So you could definitely scalp it very quickly, play the initial jump. It's going to be a quick trade. Sell it once it Sorry, just trying to read the comments. You could definitely play the original Breakout. It's definitely more risky, right? Because it can fail. But the retest is definitely safer. A lower risk, lower reward. Okay, seems like everyone likes it. Yeah, on the retest, if it doesn't hold, right? So if it failed here, your stop loss, you already, so before you enter the trade, you already have a predefined exit, right? So if you enter here, right, your stop loss is going to be right below this low here, right in this region, right? So you're basically, right, your target is the length of the flag, right? So this flagpole here is about, right, generally from the breakout region, you're going to be looking for that same target, right? So in that case, you would start to take profits here, and it extends a little bit further than that and pulls back perfectly. The one on the right is VPVR, volume profile. I did show how to use the dashboard in my last stream if you want to just go back. The BT cloud is EMAs. Chris, are you in here? If you are, I don't remember which EMAs. I think it's the 4 and the 20 EMA. I can actually see. I think it's in the Discord. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up. Yeah, so it's the 4 EMA, the 20 EMA, and the 20 SMA. Right here. 4 EMA, 20 EMA, and the 20 SMA. And we have all our settings, what we look for, a bunch of other, useful information. So you can definitely take a look in there. How does this work with options? So for example, if we were playing this, right, the current price at this level is 193. I would look for about a 195 call, right, is on the safer side, or even a 200 call, if it has some time left, right? Something that can go in the money. Anything further than 200 is probably too far out of the money. It's definitely more risky, but it has a higher reward. Yeah, so on Friday, you could definitely go on here, go on to a snapshot and see what had the most flow, right? So BBWI had a large trade for 5.7 million, a 60 call. That's pretty interesting, actually. Let's take a look at that. So they placed it on the 25th, 3 minutes before market close, a 60 call. That expires on 5/20, so it definitely has time to it. But take a look at that. Reclaim that bottom perfectly. Whoops. Right, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3, 4, 5. Big drop down. Just had earnings, beat on earnings by a little bit. So someone's playing the bottom here, looking for a run up. Right, someone's looking for a run up right back to resistance. Right, so old support turned into a new resistance. Someone's looking for that move back up to this region. Right, so that's just one way to look for setups here. Or you can do, the ratings. You can look at, right, the technical analysis page, the analytics page. You can see what earnings, right? This is the best tool ever. This has everything. And we're only adding more and more. You could chart directly from in here. You know, so you can really just go through anything here. Okay, we should probably go over some more setups for the week. QQQ, everything looks very similar, by the way. Everything looks very, very similar. So this can either be an amazing week or everything can fail and break down. But you could definitely play puts. Any names to add long term? That's really not a question for me. I mean, obviously I invest long term, but I just consistently add the same stocks every single month. I add to my portfolio. Do I take the trade if there's no flow confirmation on the dashboard? Not really. Although, you know, chart is basically everything, but chart with flow, it makes the probability of the trade much higher. So, you know, ideally, I'm going to put a larger position on something with flow. If there's no flow on it, I probably, you know, I would still take it, but I would probably size a little smaller. Right, so just constantly adjusting. Jordan, I do actually have a video on how to draw support and resistance on my channel, but just looking for major touch points. Okay, let's go over some other setups. So first of all, let's look at VIX. Actually, pretty sloppy. So on VIX, we had this double top, kind of a triple top actually. But it looks like we're starting to get higher and higher lows. Right, so something like this, we're getting higher and higher lows. We're bounced, and then potentially a bounce here again. So that's just something to be aware of. Right, if we start to get a move back to the upside, come back down, bounce again, and then break out, that would be very, very bad for stocks. Okay, Amazon. All right, so you could chart this two ways. You could do it like this, through this ticker right here, and it's consolidating right below, and it's setting up for a move over 30.77, which is the high of these three candles. It also needs to break this level right here, 30.86. So you can enter at 30.77 and confirmation of a breakout over around 30.86 or around 30.92, right, which is this triple bottom here. So it really needs 3100 for a confirmed move to the upside. But I would want to be early in this and play the IV spike and puts below 30.40. Or you can look at it like this. You can play the top of the candles and look for a move to around 31.30, this region right here. You know, works either way. Yeah, so puts, it's definitely the opposite. If you want to play puts, you can even just you can inverse the chart, right, and look at it like this. Right, so puts would be to the upside because I just inverted the chart. But right, if this is the inverse chart, it looks like it's going to break out to the downside. Right, so the real chart, it would move to the upside. That's one way to do it. And just to invert the chart is Alt I. Or I think on a Mac, I think it's Command I or Option I. Let's keep going. Snow, I really like this week as well. They do have earnings in the 3rd, so definitely keep your eye on this one. It's probably going to be pretty volatile this week, but we do have a very, very nice chart. Right, common level of resistance, we're flagging right below. Higher and higher lows. Price action is getting pretty tight here, and you know, we have a very common level of support. Right, old support is going to act as new resistance. So if this breaks, it's going to look for 287, right? Sellers will come in around 287. Really like snow. Pretty defined risk to reward level, which is why I like it. Apple, right? Everything looks the exact same. Everything has this big dip with the move to the upside and the ascending triangle here. Right, so common level of resistance, we broke out, and now we're consolidating. Needs 165. Over 165, I can see the next level it's going to test is 166. Right, so not that big of a move, which is why I didn't add it on my Twitter watch list. You know, so it's just something to watch though. Yeah, inverting the chart, it just, you know, helps you see it the other way, really, right? A lot of people always have a bullish thesis. So when you look at it the other way, it kind of helps with, you know, removing that thought of just always going up. You know, helps you view it a different way, all perspective. Airbnb, really like it this week as well. Right, so we have a double bottom set right around 134, and we have a higher low right around 141. Right, so now we have this common level of resistance. We broke out, and now we're falling wedge is right above, and it looks like it's setting up for a new move right around to 164. This is definitely something I would watch this week. I'm gonna just, you know, be quick here. Facebook, again, common level of resistance, broke out, consolidating now over 211.32, which is this high here. And go long for a price target of about 217.50, which is this resistance, and have a gap to fill right here. BABA, same thing as everything else, right? We're going to see a lot of repetitive charts here today. They just had earnings, so common level of resistance, broke out, and now it is consolidating, right? Higher and higher lows, lower highs, and we just broke out on the end of the day Friday. And we kind of have a triple top here, right? Rejected once, twice, and now 3 times. It was looking for a move towards the end of the day Friday. So definitely need to watch this over 108.79. I don't know, I didn't set any of my alerts yet by accident. I'm gonna set all of them right now. Apple, I'll set a little above because it's close. Snow, I already have my alert set. Set it below as well. Amazon, I have my alert set. I'll set my alert down here as well, right before the breakout level. VIX, don't need to. Use, I'll be watching, so I don't need to. AMD looks very good as well. Need to set my alerts. All right, I do this every single day. Every night you need to look at the charts if you want to be successful. Airbnb is your #1 watch. AMD, right? So overall chart looks very, very good. Right, common level of resistance looks like it wants to push up to this trend line, and we do have basically an inverse head and shoulders here. All right, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We did dip right below this level, but we reclaimed it. All right, this would have been a perfect dip buy, fill that gap. But if we go to the smaller time frame, right, common level of resistance, it broke through, and now we're flagging above, right below this resistance here. Right, so it rejected once. It was a previous support, right? So support turned into a new resistance, and now we flagged right below, and it's looking for the next wave up. Definitely looks good for this week. Great risk to reward levels here for the calls and puts. Tesla looks very good as well, right? Everything looks very similar as I stated. Very common level of resistance. We broke the trend, and now we're flagging right below, looking to go long over 814.84 or 815, and then needs to break 819.50. Right, so what probably is going to happen here? Where is my rush. So if it breaks out to the upside, right, we'll probably test it, come back down, retest, and then move back to the upside. Consolidate, back up, consolidate, probably fake breakdown before ripping back to the upside. That's if we get the breakout. Looks very, very good. Puts target is going to be the high of that flag, around 775. Let's keep going. Twitter. All right, same exact thing here. Common level of resistance, breakout, consolidate, and now it's testing that previous level of resistance. And we have a multiple bottom here, right? Bounce once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So over 35.50, this is a great entry here. I'm not leaning bullish or bearish, that I just play the chart. If my trigger to the downside hits, I'll play puts. If it triggers to the upside, play calls. Nothing changes. If there's a gap down, and all my setups invalidate, right? If it opens below or above one of the triggers, you just gotta be patient for either a retest or a new setup. Right, so if there's a big gap down tonight, and let's say everything opens like down around 197, or down here 337, I'm gonna sit on the sidelines and wait for new setups. Right, you don't need to trade every day. So that's Twitter. Here's NVIDIA. Right, one rejection, old support, another rejection, and it tested this end of the day. So over around 242, this is a great play here. At another point, you should try to remove like your bullish or bearish thesis on the market. Right, just look at the price action. That's all you really need to follow. I use all time frames. There's no specific time frame. I constantly go back and forth between all of them. I just want to look and see if I could see something clearly, right? If something stands out on a specific time frame, I'll look at that one. Right, whatever looks the cleanest. Typically not below, when I'm day trading, not below the 10-minute typically, right? Anything below that is like too much noise. You might get sidetracked with like every single tick. I go in right as soon as it breaks. Right? Some people like to wait for confirmation. I like to go in right away. If it fails, I'll take the loss. It's really it. Right? So, for example, I would enter right here, right before it breaks. If it fails, I'll take my stop and I'd sell right in this region. Right in this region, could sell, or move it down to the bottom here. Some people like to wait for 2 or 3 closes on the 5-minute. Everyone has a different strategy, whatever works for you. I just enter right as soon as it breaks. If I see flow come through the table here and a play breaking out, I'm absolutely taking it every single time. The video actually looks really good. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video and subscribe if you're not already. It definitely helps push the content out there, help more people. How to avoid fake breakouts? You can't. I mean, you're never gonna know, right? You're never gonna know until the move happened, which is gonna be hindsight. Which is why you need to be risk first. You always need to protect your capital. Right, so every trade you need to have a plan before going into it, right? So I'd enter here, price target is 249, and my stop loss is right around 237 or 236. right? So I have a predefined plan before I enter already. So I know exactly what I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to use emotion. If it goes down as soon as I enter, right? I'm not going to care. I already have a stop loss. If I lose, I don't care. I'm ready to lose the amount of money I'm putting into the trade. This is TradingView, this program that I'm using to chart. Pfizer, I actually just looked at this right before the stream. Looks pretty good. Common level of resistance, and it just rejected again. So over 48, you could definitely take this play. Right at it. Regarding everything else here, this is just from last week. I just never deleted it. Let's see. Everything else just looks iffy. Boeing, you know, looks pretty decent actually. Right, it looks the same as everything else. Right, you could take it over 204.07. Look for a move to fill right to this double bottom here. Right, this old level of resistance acted as a new support. Hopefully you guys see that. It's like a ladder, right? So once it breaks to one side, it comes back down. It's going to retest and use this previous shelf as a new, you know, foot to bounce off on. Do I scale in and out of my positions? Absolutely, I do. I definitely scale. A stop loss, it's not a percentage, it's a next level of resistance or support. I'm looking for out of the money flow. So if I see repeat sweeps on a ticker, right? So for example, on BA, let's say we get a push to what was that? Okay. Let's say we get a push here, right? We're at 204. If I see 210 calls come in, or 205 calls, you know, or anything just out of the money with size and a short expiration, I'm absolutely going to follow it. Right? If I see a breakout happening and I see on the dashboard people are selling, right? I could still enter, but I'm going to take profits quicker. Right? So it's just, you know, following the flow. Shop worked very well. Actually, it ended up going in green. We just entered early, so this is what I was looking at. Right, this is the chart I had right here. Right, so what I did is I entered right at the break of this candle. Right, so we entered here. It shot up a little bit. We were green for the first couple minutes, and then it came back down, and everyone was like, "Oh, what a horrible play." Came back down, but it never broke that low here, which is why I never sold. And then it did it again, right? It made a little higher high, but it came back down, consolidated, but it never broke the low. So I continued to hold. And then it finally got that initial spike, but it just didn't have enough momentum, right? There's no volume on that breakout, like no volume whatsoever. And it ended up coming back down and then dropping below. Right? You can't win them all. But the reason I never sold right away, it ended up being down 60% at this low here. But I didn't sell because the setup was still valid. Right? This low held the entire time, which is why once we got that initial spike, I ended up taking profits basically at break even. Right? So it went from minus 60% to even. So that's exactly how that play worked out. I was just looking for a breakout to this triple top here, right? 1 rejection, 2 rejections, and 3. I was looking for around 670 to 680. I also saw a 660 call. I remember I had a 660 call, right? So it ended up going basically in the money here, actually. But we just had a bad entry. We played the entry right here. It would have been way better if we played the bottom bounce here, but it's just hindsight. We never know. It happens. You can't win them all, which is why you need to be, you know, you need to size correctly. Tips on entering, exiting as fast as possible. I trade from my phone. I just go to the contract, buy, limit order. I don't use market orders. If I don't get filled, I don't get filled. I move on to the next setup. Do you average down? Nope, never really average down. Why would you want to add to a losing play? Right? You never want to add to a losing play, especially if it's a weekly. I only play weekly, so I really never ever average down. I'd rather just cut it and wait for a better entry. You were in the shop play, got out green. Yeah, you know, it happens. You can't win them all. But we played the chart, right? If I sized too big, I would have traded with emotion. That's for sure. Right? If I had like a 10% position size of my portfolio, I would have absolutely sold down here, and it would have reversed, and I would have wanted to pick someone. But I sized correctly. I played the chart perfectly, and I got out break even basically. Right? If a position's red and it comes back to break even, I'll sell that every time. At that point, a lot of people would be like, oh, it's break even, maybe we can get some green on it. No, I'm just looking to get out even. Right, it doesn't happen a lot, or it comes back like that. So let's see what else. Boeing, right, went over that already. Chipotle, no. Qualcomm kind of looks decent. Netflix, nah. Coin, like decent, I guess. Right, it has like this potential breakout here. We could potentially play this here. Not my favorite though, so I'm not adding it. All right, so this is what I do. I just look through every ticker and look for the good setups. I like the main names better, right? They have a ton of volume, you'll get a good fill. And right, the flow is easy to read. Roku, nice move last week. Yep, I did SPY, QQQ, and IWM already in the beginning of the video. You can always just go back and rewind the video. Apple covered already. All right, anything on this list that you see, I covered. So you can always just go back. So I don't have to repeat it for the people that have been here the entire time. Futures, let's check them out again. See what they're doing. Not that it's like important right now, but it's down a bit, 1.8, 1.2, and 2%. But it looks good, the overall chart. It's holding that 4260 level perfectly. So it looks good for now. We covered a lot this stream already. Hopefully everyone found this pretty useful. You can just drop a like. What candlestick am I using? Just the regular one. Candles. I am tired. Any other questions? I'd rather answer questions as opposed to charts. No, I don't really trade crypto too much. Like at all, actually. I have it. Like I own crypto, but I don't trade it. I just invest in it. Neo, I can't stand that stock. I have like a blacklist of a few stocks. Neo, Palantir, the meme stocks. Waste of time, all those. I'll look at Neo because I know a million people wanted to see it. But the stock is just not worth it to look at. Consistently going down and chopping. They do have earnings coming up, so it's whatever, right? You could potentially look at it. It's just no setup. No, 10%. If I use the 10% stop loss, I would lose on every single trade. On options, on weekly options, you got to have at least at like a 50% stop loss. How long do I wait until I get into a trade? There's no specific time frame. Like whenever the trigger hits, I'll enter. You guys need to like simple it down. Everyone's trying to make it too complex. Everyone has too many rules on their trading plan. It's really simple, right? You have a setup. You enter. You have a stop loss already whenever you enter, and you either scale out profit or you cut your position at your stop loss. Right? Just dumb it down. Everyone has too many rules. Like way too many rules. So for example, right, you enter right here. Maybe take out 1 or 2 contracts at this level of resistance. If it breaks, you scale out on the move up. Right? So let's say I buy 10 contracts here. Right? I sell 1 or 2 here, reduce my risk a little bit. It's probably going to consolidate a little bit. And then as it moves up to my final target, I scale out and I leave 1 or 2 runners by the time it gets to my final price target. Right? When these lines, I don't take my full position out here. By this time, I only have 1 to 2 contracts left. Or 1 to 5, 1 to 10 contracts, depending on how much they cost. But I never hold all of them, because if I hold all of them here, and it comes back down, right, I'm gonna wish I sold more. I'm just trying to protect my capital. Indicators are pretty irrelevant, right? So I use the BT cloud, which is good, and I use volume profile and volume. That's it. You don't really need too many indicators. So when I say the chart doesn't interest me, right, the setup isn't even worth it. There's no really good risk to reward. Every setup, I'm looking for a good risk to reward. Elevated, I answered that question. I also have a video covering where to draw support and resistance. No, I don't use extended hours. I rarely ever swing. So another good point to make is, let's say I have a position during the day. It's 3:30, right? Market closes in a half hour Eastern time. I'm always going to scale out of my position at the end of the day, right? So anything can happen overnight, so I want to reduce my risk as much as possible if I plan to swing. Right? Let's say I have 10 contracts going to close. I'll sell at least half going into close if I do plan on swinging. Even if the setup looks good, I'll always cut half just to reduce risk. Anything can happen overnight. What do you do away from the screen to make sure you're mentally prepared for the day? I chart everything. I know exactly what my plan is tomorrow. I already know exactly what I'm going to do if something happens. Yeah, Brady, definitely a price target stop loss is way better than a percentage stop loss. Absolutely. Right, I have my stop losses below previous levels of supports. Right, so we have a double bottom here. My stop loss is going to be below it. Right, like right in this region here. Stop loss is going to be here. I use a bunch of brokers. I use Webull as my main trading, and then after 2 p.m. on 0 data expirations, I use TD Ameritrade. No, 10 contracts is not my average. I was just using an example. I use 1 to 2% of my portfolio size. Right? If I have a $10,000 account, use 1%. If I have a $100,000 account, 1%. Right? If you have $20,000 account, you shouldn't be taking plays that are $2,000, $3,000. Right, so if I have a $20,000 account, max position size I'm taking is about $400. Right, that's the safest route. If you want to be a little bit more risky, risk 5%. Risk $1,000 a trade if you have a $20,000 account. Do I utilize ES1? I never look at futures if the market's open. I also really never even look at futures in the first place. Yes, 1% per trade. $1 per trade, 1 to 2%, sometimes 5% if I like the setup. But no more than 5% ever. Anything more than that, I'm gonna have like an emotional attachment to it, and I'm not gonna trade off the chart. I'm gonna play based off the P&L. Still have a bunch of people in here. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. That way you're notified every single week when I stream. I stream every Sunday. Drop a like. I have a ton of videos covering a ton of topics. If you scroll down, I covered them in the beginning. And I live stream every single week. I do this every week. It's basically a one-on-one session. I answer every single question here. Bart, so when I say a stop loss, I don't actually set a stop loss personally. You definitely can. I actively manage my trades, so if it breaks below this region, I'll just sell it, right? I don't really have a stop loss in place. I'll just actively sell my position. But stop loss meaning, right, this is the region that I'm going to take the loss. Dark pools are irrelevant to trading. They're posted 24 hours after the trade happens. So they're, by the time you see it, they could be out of their position. So I don't know what the obsession is over dark pools. It's like a super popular thing on Twitter. And everyone seems to want it. And everyone finds it interesting. It's completely irrelevant to me. Completely irrelevant. It's good, I guess, to look at, you know, support and resistance levels, but like, the chart shows where the support and resistance levels are. Yeah, a mental stop loss, exactly. I use all time frames, Raymond. Contingent orders, absolutely. C-Blast uses those a ton. It's very good for like removing. Contingent orders are great, actually. Webull doesn't have them, but E-Trade does. Yeah, here's my settings for the VPVR. Let's see. Those are my inputs. Yeah, AMC made dark pools popular, and GME, it's really just a waste. Right? It's pretty interesting if, like, I don't know. I just find no purpose to it. I've never looked at them a day in my life. And everyone obsesses over them. Like, oh, a $200 million trade on snow was made at this level. But you don't know if it's a buy, you don't know if it's a sell. And it's posted 24 hours after the trade already happened. So, I mean, You know, $200 million, it sounds a lot to us, but to the hedge fund and institutional world, it's not a lot. They make hundreds of million dollar trades all day long that you never see. The flow that we see only covers about 30% of the volume. So 70% of the trades happening, we don't even see. Right, the NASDAQ and all these exchanges, they don't even track like 70% of the flow. Retail only has about a 5 to 10% weight on the market movement. 90% of what's happening here is all institutional. Thinkorswim has contingent orders. Yeah, I could watch multiple tickers at once. I just don't like it, right? So I can click this and, you know, go to 6 charts at once, but I can't see anything like this. Too small. So I just watch one at a time. And I just use my spacebar to filter through the watch list, right? Spacebar to go down, shift space to go up. Simple as that. These candles I use for like the daily. Oh, not these. This one. I haven't changed it since in a bit, but like these candles are good to just look at the overall trend. But they don't show gaps, which is why I don't like them. Right, this shows gaps. Yep, you can definitely use VPVR to help draw support and resistance levels. Right, so if this, right, so we're sitting at a high volume profile level. If this breaks, right, buyers buyers are going to buy all the way up to this level, right, and then people are going to start to take profits around this region, which lines up perfectly with this old support. And again, you could do side-by-side charts, you could do up and down, you could do 3 charts, right? And you could change, you can sync all different things, but my personal preference is just one at a time, and I use the space bar. I filter through all of them. Right, you can inverse a chart, Alt-I. You can do a bunch of stuff. There's probably like something here where it shows like the hotkeys. Let's see. No, it's just keyboard shortcuts. Here we go. Chart. So go on this. Right, you can use all these, zoom in, zoom out. Oh, add an alert is Alt A. I didn't even know that. That's pretty interesting. This is pretty cool, actually. Like, you should go through all these. I kind of want to see what Alt A does. Oh, wow. So if I put my thing here, I got it. Pretty cool. Bart, that's amazing. Bart, if you could write that in the testimonial section, that'd be very appreciative. Right, we have a section here. Where is it? Testimonials. Right, not many people write in here, which writing reviews is not a common thing, but you know, it'd be awesome. Right, lessons learned. Right, we have people posting, you know, their losses. Right, we're fully transparent. Post your wins, post your losses, post all of it. You gotta learn from your losses. Everyone has losses. Available for only, I think it's open for anyone. Never look at level 2. I use unusual options activity, so that's basically the same thing as level 2. Never do automated trading program. Nope, never have. How did I bring up the list of shortcuts? I hit this little icon here at the bottom right, and I scroll down keyboard shortcuts, and then here. All right, so help center. I'm constantly using the keyboard shortcuts. TradingView, it's live prices. I also pay for like live data. You can go into the settings and it's like somewhere in the settings you could pay for like live prices. Right, it's like the NASDAQ I pay for, and the New York Stock Exchange. All right, so I get live feed and I get more accurate prices. Infinity 731, perfect. Good question. How many positions do I enter at once? I never really have more than 3 positions at once. Anything more than that, I feel like I'm gonna have a heart attack. So I never really have more than 3 positions, right? Because anything can happen in a moment, and they can all go red, and I don't want that happening. So I always manage my risk. I never have more than 10% of my portfolio out at once. In my options trading account, by the way. All right, we've been live for an hour, answered so many different questions. We covered a ton of content. I would actually watch the stream over again if I were you. Why do I use Webull or Thinkorswim? Oh, why don't I use? TradingView is just my personal preference. You can use whatever you like. TradingView is advanced. It has a ton of features, and it's very customizable. I like it, so I use it. You can use anything that you like. There's no specific way or like no best method, right? Everyone has a different trading style. Everyone has different programs they use. You just got to find what works best for you, and this is what works best for me, so that's why I use it. Definitely watch the stream over again if you're looking to gain knowledge. We covered a ton of stuff, answered so many different questions, so definitely rewatch it. Make sure you turn the notifications on for my YouTube stream every week. Drop a like if you haven't already. Join the Discord. We provide the most value I've ever seen, and that's not biased. No other Discord group does entries, exits, live trading, educational content, daily live trading, voice chat with an analyst. They don't have their own flow platform. Yes, I covered Amazon, TrendSpider. I don't like the charting. They're kind of like a newer company, and they just aren't. They have a lot of missing features that TradingView has. But any last minute questions? Any other questions? Ending soon. Yeah, Ricardo, definitely. Like I've been in also a bunch of other Discords just to, you know, see other people's methods of running their server, and no one offers anything that we have. All right, we're fully transparent. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow in the market. No idea. Right? If someone tells you they know what's going to happen, don't follow them. Right? No one has any idea. Hedge fund managers don't know. Institutional traders have no idea. Right? Everyone just trades a plan. A sale maybe on what's coming up? Maybe St. Patty's Day. I think that's coming up. A good starting amount max is Maxwell. 500 is definitely tough, right? I would say at least 2,000 if you can afford that. Not sure, what your situation is, obviously, but $500 is very tough to trade with. Maybe when I first started, I just traded stocks, commons, before I got into options. I would day trade and just play for little small amounts just to understand how the market moves. So you could definitely do that if you're not too good with options. But yeah, we don't just do alerts, right? So if you don't want to follow alerts and entries and exits, you can use the flow. You can use us as right. We always do chart requests. We talk through the Discord live like 24/7, right? One of us always answers, which other groups, the people that run it, don't even talk to their community, which is actually, it blows my mind. So, we always answer. But yeah, I love trading. I live for this. I love it. It's crazy. I've been doing it for like 8 years now, and I just haven't gotten tired of it. Like I look forward to Mondays. Look forward to every single day. It's so fun. And also, I've taught hundreds of people. And a bunch of the people that I've taught have opened up their own trading groups too, which is crazy to see. They've gone from complete beginner to now, a great day trader. I don't know if Mal's in here. Malinir, he was a very beginner when he joined, and now he's a contributor, and he's a great trader. Another one that sticks out to me, FJ Trades. I'm not sure if you're in here. He was a very beginner when he joined. And now he's very, very good. He's consistent. Very consistent. Yeah, stocks is just buying and selling the stock. Definitely took a few years for me to master it. 500, you could definitely use 500 to start. But, be ready to lose it all. You can't be emotionally attached to that $500. Hey, you get started with us on our website, BullTrades.net. All right, answered a ton of questions. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the stream and learned something. That's the whole point of this. Stay humble and continue to learn. Just continue to learn. All right, I don't do this for fun. I do this to help you guys. So hopefully you guys, appreciate it and learn something. But on that note, gonna head out. Have a great night, and I will see you guys tomorrow at Market Open. Peace.